to the Gold Coast University Hospital for allowing us to come along here today. My name's Chris Thomas, as Amanda said, and lovely to see you again. Thank you very much. How fantastic to be here. Why the Gold Coast? The Gold Coast was the last location of the World Transplant Games to be held in Australia back in 2009. And the Gold Coast has also held 2 Australian transplant games. So it's very synonymous with transplantation and transplant sports. Now I'd just like to welcome a few people here today before we get started. And that is, first of all, obviously you've met Amanda from the Gold Coast University Hospital. Really important role as one of the donation specialists. Can I also welcome Alice Tate, who is one of our organ donation ambassadors. And Alice is an Olympian, gold medalist in 2004, and she'll be coming across to Perth to help celebrate the World Transplant Games and also to come along to the swimming. I'd also like to introduce Adam Gordon, if you put up your hand, Adam. Adam's actually the team coach for the Australian team at the World Transplant Games. And Adam's been doing a great job inspiring everybody and helping them to think about how they can be best prepared for when they hit the starting blocks. I'd also like to welcome Richard and Anne Hayes. Where's Richard? Oh, there you are, Richard. Richard's the state chair of Transplant Australia in Queensland. And it's great to see Richard here as well again today. Also, if anyone who's had an organ transplant, would you mind just putting up your hand, please? We've got Terry, we've got Glenn, Greg, thank you, Richard. So we've got a few people here who have obviously experienced the gift of life, and a special call out to Terry, who's actually going to be the oldest competitor at the World Transplant Games. At the age of, well, I better not say. Yeah, well, 50. So look, the World Transplant Games is for people that have had a solid organ transplant. So hearts, livers, kidneys, lungs, pancreas, intestine, and also bone marrow transplant recipients. And the whole purpose is to help those transplant recipients to be as fit and as active as possible around their transplant. A lot of the decisions around their organ have already been predetermined. You know, how did the previous owner look after that organ? You know, how long was it out of the hospital system for? What was the surgery like? What were the drugs like? You know, there's all these things have been predetermined when someone receives that life-saving transplant. So these recipients can't actually influence that. All they can do is be as healthy as possible around that transplant. And that's why you'll see people, Terry, how many years? 31 years with a heart transplant, which is just so, absolutely so special. And even more special because you'll have a good connection with the family of your donor, which is really, you know, quite unusual, but it's really wonderful. And you'll be coming across, obviously, to the games as well. And it's people like that that really make the difference, don't they? Because they're the ones at that crucial point in time say yes to organ donation and enable people to have an extra 31 years. So we're here today to celebrate the Gift of Life Baton, which has been designed and produced in Western Australia by a company called Form Designs. And the Gift of Life Baton is really representing a symbol of hope for people who are waiting for a transplant right across the world. There are hundreds of thousands of people waiting today for a life-saving transplant. And did you know only about 10% of people who need a transplant actually get wait-listed? They only to get on the list, 10% right across the world. So we actually live in a pretty good country. You know, if you need a transplant, you've got a very good chance of receiving one, all because of the generosity of people. And so we would, Transplant Australia had the Gift of Life Baton design, and we're gifting it to the World Transplant Games federation after these games, and it will travel the world and hopefully have many years to come. It was launched at Olympic House in the presence of Thomas Bach, the president of the IOC, last October, and it's now been to federal parliament, to Western Australian Parliament, and now it's going to traverse all the way across Australia, 4,600 kilometres today, on these shiny bikes ridden by the Gift of Life Guardians. And I'd like them to come forward now, please. So Gordon Rutty first. We have Nick, we have Dean, we have Tim, and we have Simon. Please guys, all come forward. And so these are the guys that are going to be riding this beautiful baton all the way across Australia. I don't think the sign's going to go anywhere. Would you mind just sort of being in front of the sign for photographs, please? So we're so proud that that these guys from a local charity here in the Gold Coast have put up their hands to ride to take the baton across to the World Transplant Games. The games are April 15 to 21, so they start on Saturday week, and really the games have three purposes. One, to encourage organ transplant recipients to be as fit and active as possible. Two, to say thank you to the organ donors and the donor families. And three, to promote organ donation and for more people to register as an organ donor. Only 36% of Australians are registered, but we know that 80-90% of families say donation is really important to them. So we have this consent gap and we need more people to register as a donor. Of course, our message is amplified when we have people like Alice Tate who are willing to come on board as ambassadors, and I'd like to ask Alice just to say a few words about what she actually does now post her Olympic career. Thank you, Alice.
Thanks, Chris. Good morning, everybody. As Chris said, yes, in my very former life, I'd like to call it now, I was a swimmer, Olympic level swimmer. My name was Alice Mills back then. And I enjoyed a very healthy, active lifestyle during that time and continue to look after myself now. That's not the only reason I've become involved in this. In my experience as an elite level athlete, I went to many multi-sport events like this and enjoyed the camaraderie and the togetherness and the peace that it offered in a world that seems to be shifting all the time. But now I'm actually a nurse. I've been a nurse for nearly a decade, and my role is I work in the operating theatres. So I'm a theatre nurse, and I have direct assistance with the surgeries of organ donation and transplantation at the Children's Hospital in Brisbane. So my involvement with organ donation and transplant is very, very clinical. I don't get to know the donors or the recipients or anything like that. So to have the opportunity to meet with people from all over the world who are recipients or donors or family donors is a really special opportunity for me, not only to broaden my own experience and my own enjoyment of life and living, but also to make further connections with the job that I do and place further importance on what it is to be an organ donor. I was involved with the Australian Transplant Games in 2018 in a similar role, and through that campaign I always said if I could get one person to officially register as an organ donor, then I've done my job. And I actually got my mother-in-law, who just moved from Scotland, to register as an Australian organ donor. So if that can happen again, I might aim for 2 this time rather than 1. But I think it will be a really special experience for me, and I'm really thankful to be a part of Donate Life and Transplant Australia, and wish everyone all the best.
Thank you, Alice. Now I'd like you to give it up for a really special guy. Gordon Rutty is an altruistic living donor. So he decided to donate a kidney to who he doesn't know. He just put it out into the pool of potential organs to help let someone else live. And I think that's extra special. Gordon is a great ambassador for Transplant Australia. His involvement with us goes back almost 10 years now, when he took some kids to the Dubbo Zoo, and he's been really committed to the cause of organ donation and the gift of life ever since. And Gordon, you're not allowed to cry. I'd like to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gordon Ruddy, our lead guardian of the gift of life, Baton.
Thank you, Chris. I don't actually see myself as the lead guardian. These guys standing behind me and guys standing out in front of me, some that aren't coming, are so supportive of everything that I do. There's so much that they've helped me with in my endeavours to support Chris and Transplant Australia, and I could not do it without these guys. And you can see the guys are in the audience there with their betterment, with the lines on their shirt. They're just an amazing people. I'm so blessed to be surrounded by just wonderful people. I don't know how I got so blessed, so fortunate. Look at my wife, look at her. She's amazing. But I'm just privileged to be able to help in some small way. For us, this is going to be a great adventure. Whilst we're doing something to support Chris Transplant Australia, we can't lie. We're going to love it. Robbo's got that strapped to the front of his bike. We're going to be riding through towns, and we're going to spread the message. We're going to share with people the importance of being a registered organ donor. Because like Chris said, there's not enough of us that are. And not everybody who wants to be an organ donor is going to be an organ donor. You have to die in a specific, I don't like talking about death, but you have to die in a specific way to be an organ donor. So it just doesn't mean because we've got 100 organ donors out there that there's going to be 100 lives saved. I don't know what those statistics are, but we may need 300 organ donors to save one person. I'm making that up, but it sounds good. It sounds bad, I should say. It's not a good statistic. We really need more. Like Chris said, of the 1,800 people who are on the waiting list, there's so many more that aren't on the waiting list, that don't have a really good quality of life. And we could change that. I like to say when we don't need our organs anymore, when we don't need them anymore, why not give them to somebody else? How many people can we save? 10 individually? Something like that?
7 to 10.
7 to 10. When we don't need them anymore, there's 7 to 10 people who could have another 31 years. Who thinks that's awesome?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Say yes! Yes! Say yes again! Yes. All right. Now, I'm pretty sure you're all organ donors. If you're not, it's very simple. All you do is go to donatelife.gov.au, have your Medicare card handy, and in 30 seconds, guess what? You're a registered organ donor. And that's it for me. I'm just privileged, and thank you for the opportunity, Chris.
Thank you. Thanks, Gordon. So it's the World Transplant Games is going to be something really special. We've got 1,500 competitors from 46 countries coming to the Games, including some new countries like Ethiopia, Uganda, Ecuador. As I said before, we're pretty privileged here in Australia that if you need a transplant, odds on you are odds on to get one. But for many people across the world, it's very different. So for us to be able to not only have this as a beacon, but for our work to be promoting organ donation as a beacon is actually really important as well. And we're so much looking forward to sharing that with the rest of the world. I just want to thank the Organ and Tissue Authority and the Donate Life Network for their support of the World Games. and also for the Office for Sport. The federal government has really significantly got behind this, and I think it actually shows that transplant sports is a legitimate sport that sits alongside, a lot of the mainstream sports. We've got the Special Olympics, we've got the Paralympics, we've got the Olympics themselves, and transplant recipients do need to know that they are part of the Olympic family. And that's what Thomas Bach said to us last year at Olympic House in Switzerland. Also, the Western Australian government has been really supportive, and also AstraZeneca has really got behind the World Games, which is just absolutely fantastic. So look, what we're going to do now is we're going to ask the boys to jump on their bikes. Everybody can take a few photographs. We'll have the Gift of Life baton in front of them and so on. And while we're doing that, we'll obviously invite everybody to have some morning tea. I'd like to thank so many people for coming along here today. Such a great turnout, such a beautiful location. We were down at the Surfers Paradise sign this morning for some really great photographs. And these guys are going to have such a great time. So please, once again, let's give a round of applause to Gordon, to Mick, to Simon, to Dean and to Tim for taking the... Oh, and Steve, oh sorry, and a special call out, come on. Steve, what are you doing? Every Baton ride needs a driver, and this is Steve, the driver, so my apologies, Steve. Steve doesn't realise the job description is also massage at the end of each day. That wasn't in the job. So look, we're going to let the guys jump on their bikes. Can I just thank everybody? Amanda, thank you very much for putting this on today. It's been so special. Thank you everyone for coming along. Make sure you connect on social media and watch out on the news for the World Transplant Games. To all of the clinical staff that are here, where are you, clinical staff? Put up your hands. You guys are doing an amazing job, making a difference to people's lives every day. Don't tell me you only came out for the morning tea. Hopefully you came out for us to say thank you for everything that you do. Okay, that concludes the formal part of the procedures. Jump on the bikes, let's get a few photographs, and thank you very much everybody. Please join us for morning tea. Thank you.